One of the questions that I often get is, can a elf on the shelf doll conjure up something? Now, you have to understand that these dolls are like any other doll. They essentially are a vessel for something evil or negative to inhabit. And when you are doing Elf on the Shelf, you are essentially dabbling in the occult. Now, this is a story I heard out of Austin, Texas. There was this family who lived in the suburbs of Austin. And the man was named Mike, his wife was named Donna, and they had a young son named Robbie. Well, they decided to get one of these Elf on the Shelf dolls and they began doing harmless little pranks on Robbie. The wife Donna, she thought like it was just, really funny and she was having a good time with it. Mike was kind of, I don't know if this is a good idea. Like, are we kind of dabbling in something we shouldn't? So, this one particular night, they take the doll, which they had called Bernard, and they put it in Robbie's room. And they say, "Good night, Robbie. Good night, Bernard." And they leave the bedroom. At about 12:30 a.m. that night, they hear Robbie screaming. And he comes running into their bedroom. He's like, "Mom, Dad, like the doll was moving by itself and it growled at me." And they're like, "What are you talking about, son?" And he's like, "It was moving by itself and it was growling." And Donna's like, "Well, I think Bernard's a friendly elf. I don't think he would be growling at you trying to scare you." And she said the rest of the night, right, he was scared. He would not leave their bedroom. But, Donna at the time didn't really think anything of it. Mike, however, thought like maybe we've gone too far, like we shouldn't be doing this. He tells Donna, and Donna's like, "Oh no, it's harmless, like we're not doing anything wrong." So a couple days later, they decide we're gonna take Bernard and we're gonna bring him in the kitchen. We're gonna knock over some flour and we're gonna make like little footprints, like he'd been walking around the kitchen, like kind of making messes. So they get that all set up and they go to bed. Mike wakes up in the middle of the night and he hears what sounds like someone walking around in the house. So he gets up and, he starts looking around the house. He doesn't see anything. He thinks, oh, maybe it was just the cat. He goes back to bed. The next morning, Mike wakes up and on the foot of their bed is Bernard. And he's just sitting up, staring at him. And when he gets up out of bed, Mike goes into the living room where he discovers like white little footprints that look like they've been, stepping in flour. And it's going directly to the bedroom to the side of his bed. So Mike goes to his wife and was like, "You know what? This is ridiculous. Like, you're playing a prank on me. I don't think it's funny. No more of this doll business." And he looks at Donna and then he could tell, like, this wasn't a joke that she had played. So Mike decides, you know what? I'm taking this doll, I'm putting it in the garage in storage, and we're not playing with it anymore. So he takes Bernard, he puts him out in the garage in this box, and that was the last of it, or so he thought. A couple days later, he's sleeping, and he wakes up to beep, beep, like the horn in his car that's parked in the garage is honking. So Mike gets up, he goes out to the garage expecting to find someone having broken in or something, except when he goes in the garage, it's completely empty. So as Mike's exiting the garage and he's walking back to the bedroom, he said out of the corner of his eye, he's seen the shadow of something kind of move past him. And he said he hurried up, ran in the bedroom, and closed the door. The next morning, he wakes up. There is Bernard sitting on the foot of his bed, staring at him. So he takes the doll and he puts it back in the garage, except this time he puts it in a toolbox and locks the toolbox. Well, a couple days later after this, he said he'd went to bed and he woke up to the sensation of a burning feeling on his leg. When he sits up in the bed, he said he looked over and he seen this hooded black figure, and he said it was just standing in the corner of the room and it was holding Bernard. And he said when he looked down at his leg, there were all of these scratches all up his leg. And he wakes up his wife, and when his wife, wakes up, whatever this is gone. But Bernard is there on the floor. And so Mike's like, you know what? We're getting rid of this doll. So he took the doll to the dump and got rid of it. And he calls up his friend, who actually was like a pastor at the time, and had him come over and do a blessing over the whole house.